All right, good morning, everybody. Joe Van Doren here, and welcome to our Virtues Pick for today. I'm very excited to have this word because it's just one of those things that is can be very confusing to us at times, and even in the way we demonstrate it. And so the word is today is assertiveness. Now, that's a big word, so let's just read the description first and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So, assertiveness is speaking one's truth with peaceful confidence. It is discerning the song we were given to sing and using our talents as a gift to the world. We have the courage to speak up for what we believe is right. We tell the truth about what is just. Assertiveness comes from knowing our own worth and honoring the dignity of who we are. We stand on our own holy ground and set boundaries without guilt. We never beg or make demands. We ask for what we need by making simple, positive requests. We treat ourselves with respect and expect respect at all times. Well, I just love this word because it's probably one of those virtues that almost can be, I don't want to say controversial, but some people will say, oh, assertiveness, sounds and looks more like aggression, right? And so there's a huge difference between the two, and it's one of those virtues that I've been working on too, because sometimes I will just step back a little bit, let things go as they go, and don't step forward with my own desires. In other words, have you ever been around someone, I'm only saying this because this is something that I have done and still do. I have to catch myself. So they ask you, would you like to do this or would you like to do this? And you go, oh, I don't care. What would you like to have for dinner? It doesn't matter to me. Well, the fact is that it does matter. It is something, and you just haven't taken the time to think about it. And I'm talking to myself now. And or you've just gotten an attitude of giving up and your power to everybody else. So, if in fact you do have a desire, then it's better to say that, right? And if there's something other than that, like if there are choices, then you might ask for the choices and then make a decision and say what you would like to have or what you would like to do. It's actually that sort of answer of I don't care, I don't know, it doesn't matter to me. Those kinds of answers are pretty passive and sometimes even passive aggressive. And when we're giving up our power to others, we're really not honoring who we are as a person and our own dignity. So this is one of those virtues that if you've had the experience of saying those words to others, or maybe even to yourself, it might be an area that you might just want to think about, that when those words come out, and they will again and again, they still do with me at least, that you stop and you think, okay, what is it that I do want, right? Or what is it that I would like to say? And so there's a huge difference between assertiveness being demonstrated in an overdeveloped way and showing itself as aggression, right? Or underdeveloped and showing itself as passivity and just giving up your power to others. So it's that in between, it's that balanced area, and it's balanced with all those other virtues, right? The virtues of understanding, or the virtues of consideration, like we had yesterday. Different virtues come into play here, but assertiveness simply says you're going to stand up for yourself and that you're going to speak your truth, whatever it is, even if it's just a simple choice. It demonstrates a certain amount of confidence that you know that you're worth something, you know that you have the virtues of dignity and nobility. You know that you are worthy to speak your choices and to say what you need to say. It doesn't mean that you have the right to step all over someone else's choices or the right to step all over someone else's ideas or ways of being or things that they want to say or what they believe is the right thing to do. We just don't have that right. We can't control other people. We can't control other things. This is really all about us being in control of ourselves and being willing to speak up and being willing to tell another person exactly what we want. And it's not demanding it. We're not going to beg, we're not going to demand, but we are going to ask in simple positive requests. And if the other person chooses not to honor that, in other words, or not to provide that whatever that request is, then we deal with that, right? It's their right to say no. It's their right to say, no, that's not something that I'm willing to do, or that's not something that's on the table of choices, right? And so this is what this whole thing is about. It's about respect, right? Respect for yourself and respect for others. And that's what assertiveness really is. It's being willing to speak up. It's being willing to do so, though, in a respectful way of others' ideas and others' rights to speak up and to speak their mind. And when we take the moment to listen to the other person's ideas, sometimes we can be persuaded. We can see their point of view, and we may or may not be persuaded, but that's really not the idea. The idea is just the willingness to honor them and to try your best to understand where they're coming from, so that the next thing that you ask for or whatever can be done by with respect. So that's my thoughts about assertiveness. And so this morning was a very good example of that. My wife has a number of things to do outside, and to take the car and go places and do things. And she asked me if I wanted to go. Now, I have the right at that point to say, no, I think I'm going to stay here today. Or, yes, I would love to go with you. So today I had to say, well, I have an appointment at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Do you think that will work into that schedule? And if so, then I'm more than willing to go with you and share in the things that need to be done. So that was assertiveness with understanding, right? And that's what I hope that I can do the rest of this day, that I'm going to really focus on being assertive and speaking my mind. Now, having said all that, how do we help our children with assertiveness? I think it begins with us recognizing that our children many times are assertive, and we stamp it down by telling them how stubborn they are, or how disrespectful they are. And they might have been disrespectful because they have not learned yet how to speak with courtesy, how to speak with respect for others, but yet they're still demonstrating assertiveness. And if we tamp that assertiveness down, what happens is that as they get older, they don't have that same sort of respect for themselves, and so many times they will have learned to either give in a passive way, to give in with grumbling in a passive aggressive way, or to not give in and to come off as aggressive and as someone might describe it, as being bossy or stubborn, or some other adjective that they might use to describe what truly is assertiveness. So it's very important for us as parents to recognize when a child is demonstrating assertiveness, and to respect that assertiveness. And then if what they've asked for is not possible, to be able to say no to them in a respectful way, so that they can understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and the choices that we have to make as a parent. So we're not giving up our grounds as a parent, because that's, and that's where we have to set those boundaries with our kids, right? But it's boundaries without guilt. And I think that's really the key. They don't have to feel guilty about, what they desire, but they do have to have respect for the position and the authoritativeness of the parent. And so we can make other suggestions to them. But we're always going to do what we believe is right for ourselves and for our child. So we're not going to give in all the time to their request, right? But they can be very assertive, but we want them to hold that assertiveness, because when they get older, when our young daughter is 16 or 18, we want them to be able to say no. We want them to be able to say, that's not okay with me. And that's, just an area that we want to continue to grow in them. So I love this word assertiveness, and I hope to practice it with balance so that I'm not aggressive and I'm not passive or passive aggressive. So that's my thoughts today. Whew, I was really long-winded on that one. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can see the value of assertiveness in growing and developing it both in ourselves and in our children. So until next time, which will be tomorrow morning, keep practicing the virtues and the 4 C's of successful families, and that is clarity, communication, consistency, and community. Until tomorrow, bye.